So, David,
Yes.
you first contacted us, the Impossible Channel, with the intention of warning us that there might be something out there other than Nibiru or Planet X, or a red dwarf star, which would be the red Kachina in the Hopi prophecy, right?
Correct.
So you showed us videos in which you recorded what seemed to be, or what people are talking about, as to be Venus, right? But it isn't. It probably isn't.
Well,
So just tell us something before we go into all this. Just tell us a bit of your story on how you found this object to be a strange anomaly in the sky.
all right. Well, let me just say, I've lived here for 46 years on this planet. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't really that exceptionally of a good student. You know what I mean? In school. Um, but when I got a little older and what have you, all of a sudden this learning kick got into my head. So I'm not a PhD. I'm not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not documented as far as knowing even what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But now, science and everything has to be based on observation, which is when you see something, then that has to be fact. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, with my craze for learning everything nowadays, I mean, it's been a while. Like since I was 27, I think it kicked in. I just wanted to learn everything I could possibly learn. So, I mean, I heard about Nibiru, but I put that off. But it wasn't until the Hopi prophecies that did my ears kind of set forward, a little bit, and so it got my interest, and geology, the Earth's crust and whatnot, and all the things that are in minerals and the three types of rocks there are, and all this stuff. I just started learning all this stuff. Astronomy, which I'm not real good at, but I'm getting there. But now I've watched the sky for a long time because my boss, well, my old boss, um, he he's the one that got me started on that kick. He was talking about Nibiru, and we were watching through his telescope, which he had a nice telescope, really nice, and he showed me Saturn and I believe it was Jupiter at the same time, the same time of year. I think that was back in '97. Anyway, yeah. So that's what excited me to watch the skies all the time, and so I'm sitting here and I see this bright object that's coming up, and I thought, oh, well, you know, it could be Venus because Venus does come up a little bit on our horizon right there, and
Yeah.
is visible like up to about a half a crescent, I believe, on its half phase, But and I watched it, but it just kept climbing up, way out past the orbit that it should have been. So I started questioning what that could be because at first I thought it was Venus as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's when it went way outside of our orbit, above the sun, the ecliptic, is when I decided to take interest and that's when I first contacted you, and because I was still question marks all in my head, wondering, you know, but the Hopi prophecies kept sticking in my head about, the red Kachina, and so I started reading about it and whatnot, and then I wanted to know the exact orbits of all the inner, the two inner planets that are before us as far as the like number one and number two, we're number three on the
Right.
orbit, right?
Right. Right.
So I wanted to know about Mercury. I wanted to know about Venus. Well,
Interesting.
yeah, because I figured that's what it was at first, but it kept climbing and climbing, and the more I read about Venus, the more I realized that this is not something that's usually visible in our inner solar system at all,
You
and
mean
it's kind of
Venus,
scary
right?
when I thought about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, well, I thought it was Venus. I was still thinking that it was Venus at this point, but but as I watched this thing progress and as I read more about it, um, that's when I realized that it's something other than now. I couldn't I could not tell you, like, I couldn't go say to you that I have a PhD in this field and I could tell you exactly what it is. Now I still got question marks, but I know it's not Venus now. I do know that. So
I'm pretty sure
and so that's
that
what
some people say it's Venus, some other people say it's Jupiter. That makes me question if these people know at all what they're talking about. And
exactly.
I've had
Because
people tell me like just install one of those star apps in your phone and you're gonna see that's not Venus, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah, that's
it was pretty simple as that. And I was like, okay, well, very good, very good. That's solved, right? Problem solved. And but not yet, right? Some people are still, for example, NASA and CNN and all that, they're still pushing the fact that you may be able to see something in the sky, and that's going to be Venus, right? And I don't think, you know,
bad,
they're trying to push that onto us for some reason.
bad,
Now,
real bad.
yeah, real bad, of course. Now, of course, we've got chemtrailing. You know, that is
Mm-hmm.
something obvious, and it's getting more and more irritating, I would say, right?
Yeah,
People all over
definitely.
the world are definitely not up to that. So I just want you to say, what do you think about if this, for example, some people, what I'm gonna ask you something, okay? Some people are telling me that this star, whatever it is, right, it's getting bigger. Do you agree with that? What do you think about that?
Well, I wouldn't say it's getting any bigger, but I think it's getting closer. It's not getting any brighter. It's just getting closer. So of course it's going to seem like it's brighter and bigger, of course. And yeah, it is as far as that's concerned.
Interesting, right? Okay, very good. It's not getting bigger itself, but it's getting closer, right? Very good. And
Right.
what is the size of this object in your opinion, David? What do you think it's?
Well, I would say it's probably a I don't know. I could go with what they say, but I don't agree with that either. Because if it was 4 times the size of Jupiter,
Wow.
well then that would be an understatement. I think it's a little larger than 4 times, but though it's a low mass object, I would say that it's at least probably 6 or 7 times larger than Jupiter. To be honest with you,
Do you think there is an agenda that was prepared for one of these happenings? If this happened, you know?
I believe that they want to save their own hides. That's all that is to it. But they want to keep us working all the way up to the point of when it happens. So they ain't gonna say nothing to us about it anyway. And when they start slipping off into their little cracks, it'll be too late for
Oh my
people
God.
to get the messages,
Okay.
because that means it's just right around the corner. It could happen any day or any hour actually. Once they start slipping into their dark little crevices.
Right. You mean like underground bases or stuff like that?
Like dumbs or all that stuff they've been spending all of the United States taxpayer money, and other countries been spending all their people's money, on the same thing. From what I understand, though, Russia's probably the only one that's building underground facilities for its actual citizens, not just the elite.
For example, if you check this star or whatever it is, it's getting huge. It's getting bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger. I see that in pictures. I see that in videos. So just for the listeners who believe this could be Venus or whatever, just to check it out. It's getting bigger. Now, I don't think that the folks like you're saying like they're going into their hives. I do think they're doing that. I don't think they're going to
Right.
let this object collide with Earth.
Oh, it's not going to collide with us. No,
Yes, exactly. I don't think it's
It's
going to
not going to
collide.
hit us.
It's not going to hit, but
No,
it's going to pass really close
it's going to
to.
go. Yeah, it's going to go right in between us and the sun. But let me reiterate on the fact about the magnetic pole, as you asked the question.
Okay, very good.
Um, Now, it's not really a pull, because if it was, it would be pulling all the planets towards the sun. Because that's the most object that has the most mass, right? Which is actually the one that's holding all the planets in its concerto orbit, right?
Right.
So therefore, it would be pulling us if it was a pull. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I believe it's actually a push more than it is, and all them other planets out there and the ones before us in orbit are there to hold, are pushing against each other. So this object that's coming in, it could very well push us a little bit into Venus's orbit. So, and we may not be seeing the dwarf at all, regardless if it's brown or red. You understand? That might just be invisible, like they say, as far as the light spectrum is concerned, because our eyes don't pick up on that stuff.
Okay.
So therefore, it could be something shoving us into Venus's orbit. So I'm not saying that the people who are saying that Venus is wrong. I'm just saying there is something totally wrong with Venus if that is Venus.
Yes. Yes. I
You know what
agree.
I'm saying?
Sure. For example,
And
when you look at the dwarf star or the southwestern star, whatever the star is, right? When you look at
right.
it, what is your
The
feeling?
object.
What is What is your? Some people tell me that they even see aliens moving inside of it. I don't think that would be
Well,
possible, but I have my.
you never know, but
You never
they would
know
have to have
exactly.
some good equipment. You know, They would have to have some really, really good equipment in order to be seeing that kind of stuff. So those people would have to be connected probably with NASA, or they would have to be connected with, say, the Vatican, or whoever else, whoever runs the Lowell Observatory or any of those kinds of places. They may be able to see something like that, but we ain't gonna be able to see stuff like that.
Well,
You know,
that is very curious. I would love to see what they could see. Do you think that they know about this? Now, talking about the Vatican, the government, and all that, do you think they know about this incoming object or second incoming object, whatever it is, right? Because there is a
um,
prophecy that was made 500 years ago from an Italian guy, Tafuri, if I'm not mistaken. He talks about two light sources that it will appear after in the sky, right? After it snowed for 2 consecutive days in a town, in a specific town in Italy, and it happened last week. So this is all just
right?
happening too fast. This is all happening very fast. So, yeah, we got Trump Friday on the elections, right?
Yeah,
He's taking the chair. So, and we got so many Illuminati and whatever conspiracies on Trump being assassinated on Friday and whatever, and
yeah.
there's even
Well,
there's a lot of theories, but I think like, do you think they know about it? And if they know about it, what are they
no,
doing
they
about
did.
it?
They've known about it since I believe Einstein and his crew. I believe they told him that he gave him the options in the first place. I could either make split this atom for a weapon, or I could split this atom so you guys could get off this rock whenever this object comes. He blatantly told them all, that and warned them of the repercussions of making it into a weapon. Um, and and he also made light of the fact that the way they have to make the material to create that weapon is by boiling water in nuclear reactors so that they can enrich their stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, they've known about it, and scientists and astronomers have been telling them. Harrington he was the head of the Naval Observatory back in the day, and I believe they had him killed. But the point is that even he said the same thing. He knew that by calculations that this thing would be heading this way. Now, whether or not he understood that there was two objects, in fact, that are coming at the same time this time, that's a different story. But he did mention there was two different objects that would come periodically, one every 22,000 years or something, and one every 3,600 years. So, and just by the calculations and timing, I don't think that they could even calculate the real, you know,
I have a very interesting theory on the Bible that would grasp maybe the most skeptic person on earth. I have a theory that maybe the Bible was actually a book written like an advice. Let's just say that maybe these dwarfs are right. They visit they pass by our planet from time to time. They reset our system, our biodiversity and our biosystem from time to time, right?
oh
So I don't
yeah,
know. What if they found a way? They write a book and they found a way to continue on with this happening, all the time. So they write a Bible, right? They write a prophecy kind of book or a instruction kind of book, like the Ten Commandments. You know what I mean?
like a manual for life for living. In other
Yes,
words.
exactly. And I think the Bible at first was supposed to be something seen as something like this, like a manual. Like, look, just follow
Well,
these basic steps and you will go the right way. Everything will be
or you
fine.
should go the right way.
Yes, exactly.
But
You'll be
listen to this.
fine.
It's
It may be a natural occurrence, and we had our time to get things right, and we didn't, maybe.
several times, yeah.
But I think there's
We've had
still
more than
hope for those, like you said, it's not going to hit us, right? It's probably not going to hit us, so it's just going to
no,
pass
no.
by, and there is a big chance that a lot of us are going to survive. Now, I have been
Yeah.
told by a U.S. Air Force um, a friend, that we should learn to get together and learn to, in a certain way, to live with the differences. And now is not the time to create unharmony. Like now is the time to create harmony and try to get together for the big events that are upcoming. Whatever. Okay. I thought it was interesting, an interesting way to put it simple. Simple like that. He
Yeah,
said,
because
don't fight with people over nothing. This is gonna start happening more and more. So gotta pay attention with that. I'm trying to do
yeah,
that, and I think everybody should also. It's a good way to start, right? It's a good way to start. I don't know.
I'm saying it's probably one of the only ways to redeem ourselves is to be kind to each other when it does come down.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
did you ever research that what I told you about my grandfather's cousin Jimmy Velasquez?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I had the time. I don't think.
Remember,
I think that was right
he
before
was
I went to Rio de Janeiro.
well. Jimmy Velasquez believes in 1958, and he has supporting documents and a supporting Polaroid photo of the UFO that he had a fourth encounter. In other words, he was abducted,
Right.
contact. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Right.
So
Okay.
yes, and this happened at Big Rock in California, where all the natives used to meet. Well, they were all there meeting in 1958, and San Bernardino County Sheriff, actually, when he was Jimmy was up on top of the rock, was he was taking pictures with his Polaroid, and when he snapped one picture, all of a sudden there was a you can't mess with Polaroids, you know, because it happens right there. You know, there's no way to mess with that.
Okay.
But and they ended up firing the San Bernardino County Sheriff over it because he wouldn't surrender the photo. But the Air Force and all them tried to force him to. And anyways, Jimmy says when he was abducted and was taken away that that they told him that, this way of life that we would have to learn in order to be accepted in the spirit realm in the first place. You know, because we're dangerous, we're emotional, we're apt to do just about anything us humans are. You know, so
Sure.
they gave him. I mean, he came back with so much knowledge and stuff that he could have never, because he's Native American for one thing, and so they didn't get the best of educations. What they got was Jesuits that beat them a lot and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the Catholics, they were really mean to the natives here, and it's kind of like the Inquisition in Spain or Europe.
Yeah, I kind of believe that. I believe that
And they
totally.
did us over here. So, anyways, so he came back with all this information, and when the Air Force questioned him, he told them about all kinds of different systems that were made the ship, propulsion systems that he would have never been able to tell them anything about that kind of stuff. And even with his wildest imagination, you know what I mean? Because he grew up on a reservation, you know what I mean?
Sure.
An Indian reservation, Native American. So, anyways, if you want to look at that, you go on the net and you look for the science of ETH realization, okay? And that's my great, I guess it would be my great cousin or my great cousin. Anyway, because my grandfather was, or my granduncle, however you want to say it, my grandfather's first cousin is who he is. And we used to talk and have all kinds of long philosophical and, you know, all kinds of different conversations. It was off the hook. So you know, I invite anybody that wants to check that out. It's on the net. You know, it's Jimmy Velasquez, Jim Navajo Velasquez. And only thing is he had his last name Velasquez. It's not spelled with the S. It's spelled with a Z at the end. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you'll know it's him when you get there, and you'll see the photo, the Polaroid, and the sheriff holding it up, him and his buddy, and they fired that sheriff because he wouldn't surrender the photo.
Wow.
Yeah. So and it's
that's
a real
big story. That's
UFO.
a big story.
Yeah. So if you guys really want to, you know, I know that there's tons of extraterrestrial life. Why would anybody create just us in this big old vastness?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Why, if something that was smart enough to create all this, I think it'd be smart enough to create a lot more than just us.
David, this was a very, very good conversation. And thank you very much for contacting us and being patient with me.
And Happy New Year. Happy New Year, man.
And Happy New Year too. Happy New Year too. Have a good January. Thank you, man. So, David,
Yes.
you first contacted us, the Impossible Channel, with the intention of warning us that there might be something out there other than Nibiru or Planet X, or a red dwarf star, which would be the red Kachina in the Hopi prophecy, right?
Correct.
So you showed us videos in which you recorded what seemed to be, or what people are talking about, as to be Venus, right? But it isn't. It probably isn't.
Well,
So just tell us something before we go into all this. Just tell us a bit of your story on how you found this object to be a strange anomaly in the sky.
All right. Well, let me just say, I've lived here for 46 years on this planet. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't really that exceptionally of a good student. You know what I mean? In school. But when I got a little older and what have you, all of a sudden this learning kick got into my head. So I'm not a PhD. I'm not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not documented as far as knowing even what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But now science and everything has to be based on observation, which is when you see something, then that has to be fact. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, with my craze for learning everything nowadays, I mean, it's been a while. Like since I was 27, I think it kicked in. I just wanted to learn everything I could possibly learn. So, I mean, I heard about Nibiru, but I put that off. But it wasn't until the Hopi prophecies that did my ears kind of set forward, a little bit, and so it got my interest, and geology, the Earth's crust and whatnot, and all the things that are in minerals and the three types of rocks there are, and all this stuff. I just started learning all this stuff. Astronomy, which I'm not real good at, but I'm getting there. But now I've watched the sky for a long time because my boss, or my old boss, he's the one that got me started on that kick. He was talking about Nibiru, and we were watching through his telescope, which he had a nice telescope, really nice, and he showed me Saturn and I believe it was Jupiter at the same time, the same time of year. I think that was back in '97. Anyway, yeah. So that's what excited me to watch the skies all the time, and so I'm sitting here and I see this bright object that's coming up, and I thought, oh, well,